The story of the Brooke family is the story of around 300 years of farming in Kempley, dating from at least the early 18th century until the last of the line, Ken Brooke, who retired in 2012. Ken started the new millennium farming 150 acres, considerably less than his ancestors who previously lived at Friars Court, or Priors Court as it's sometimes known. During the 18th and 19th centuries, the Brooke family farmed large areas of the Beecham estate, with various holdings coming under their management. The auction of the Beecham estates in 1919 marked the end of the old era of tenant farmers doffing their caps to his lordship's stewards. Ken's grandfather was overjoyed at becoming the owner of the land he had farmed and nurtured for so long. These days it's hard to imagine the discipline and restrictions imposed by a different social order. One sign of those days can still be seen in the Beecham crest that sits above the old pig cots. Friars Court has changed little since Ken's father's time. The view from the farmhouse is still of fields of sheep and cows. Before his retirement, the Crook Barn, which is listed, housed a chaff cutter, and the granary a Bamford No. 3 corn mill. The orchards are fewer and the woodland much the same. But there's no longer the opportunity to call in next door to Saysel's farm for a drink of their local cider brew, as his father once did with the agricultural reps. Motor power came late to Friars Court. It was only in 1936 that Ken's father bought his first tractor.
My father, he actually ploughed with a horse. Mechanisation has done away with labour, so you've got tractors doing work now that horses and that used to do. They take a week to do a job, and now you do it in an hour.
The last working horse in the village was about 1960, and it was around the same time that the transition from blacksmith to garage happened. A piece of land was sold to Brian Baldwin for his garage next to the old post office. Although the Brooke family owned a car in the 1930s, Ken's first recollection is of a Humber Hawk in 1955, but even by the late 60s, very few villagers owned a vehicle. They didn't need one because you could shop and do business at the post office, and there was a bus to get you to Newent. The loss of the trains caused problems for many local farmers who used to take their stock to Ledbury or Gloucester Market. Today it's at Ross-on-Wye on a Monday. Ken's father employed 2 permanent labourers to help him run the farm, and until the 1960s itinerant workers always appeared, as if by magic, at the busy times. Even the Second World War brought little change to farm life in Kempley. Few local men were called up because as agricultural workers they were needed to feed the country, as Ken recalls.
During the wartime, Father said that was the best farming times, really, because he said the public wanted food, and it was the agricultural that produced it all then.
And war brought help on the farm from a different quarter.
Father told me that there was prisoners of war, and they came out from Gloucester, and they would have like a gangmaster who organised them all, and they used to do, well, not menial jobs, but whatever they were capable of, doing beet hoeing and things like that then on the farm, and digging drains. And we've still found drains that they've dug now, and they're as straight as a die.
The biggest changes witnessed by the Brooke family over their last century on the farm were social and economic. Ken's father sold the old rectory by St Mary's in 1956 for just £700. Land prices have also risen sharply.
My father bought some woodland in 1932 for £500 for 50 acres, and last year the same wood was sold for £5,500 an acre, so that's how the price of land's gone up there. Well, woodland then.
Margaret, Ken's new wife, came to Friars Court in 1981 and helped in the running of the farm for another 31 years. The Gloucestershire-Hereford boundary runs along the farm perimeter and into Ledbury, where Ken used to take his sheep to market for 33 years until it closed in 2000. In 2012, the Brookes moved over the border too, after selling the farm that had been in the family for so long. The hammer came down on the end of an era at the end of September 2012, with an auction of tractors, farm equipment, and the last 70 of Ken's Suffolk X yearling ewes. Ken and Margaret don't regret giving up the hard work of running a farm now they're older, but they are sad that a family connection lasting around 300 years has been broken.
We've got nobody to leave it to. We're unlucky to not have family to leave it to, so it's an end of an era, really, because the Brooke family had been at Friars Court. Well, the graves go back in the St Mary's Church to 1725 then.
So even before that?
Probably so, yeah.